On January 29th, the Springville Police Department released a bulletin seeking the public's assistance in locating 41-year-old Lesa Hyde, a woman who had been missing since late December. Initially, investigators were uncertain of the circumstances surrounding her disappearance, but as more details emerged, it became clear that Hyde's case was anything but ordinary. The shocking twist came shortly after the police bulletin was posted, when a phone call would lead them down a chilling path, one that would reveal a story of manipulation, violence, and betrayal. Lesa Hyde had lived in Springville, Utah, for most of her life. Known for her kind heart and outgoing nature, she was a mother of two and a beloved member of her community. Lesa worked as a nurse at a local clinic and had a reputation for being dedicated to her job, caring for her patients with a level of compassion that made her a favorite among colleagues. But Lesa's personal life, especially in the months leading up to her disappearance, had been tumultuous. She had recently ended a long-term relationship with a man named Arturo Carrion, a man she had been romantically involved with for several years. According to friends and family, the relationship had been complicated, marked by emotional abuse and frequent arguments. Despite the end of their romantic connection, the two remained in contact. Some witnesses suggested that Carrion had become increasingly obsessive and controlling in the months before Lesa went missing. Others claimed to have seen the two together shortly before her disappearance, though no one had reported any unusual behavior at that time. The last time Lesa's family saw her was on December 23rd, when she called her mother and mentioned she was going to meet with Carrion. It would be the last time anyone heard from her. When she failed to show up for Christmas gatherings and didn't respond to phone calls, her family grew concerned and contacted the police. The breakthrough in the case came on January 30th, when an anonymous 911 call was made. The caller, later identified as Arturo Carrion, reported a gruesome crime. He claimed that Lesa Hyde was dead, murdered by an unknown assailant, and her body was hidden in a shed behind an apartment complex in Springville where he was known to stay. The call, made at around 11 a.m., was both disturbing and puzzling. Carrion sounded calm but insistent, providing enough information to suggest he knew the location of Hyde's remains. "I think you need to come to the shed behind the apartment complex," Carrion told the dispatcher. "My former girlfriend, Lesa Hyde, is dead. I didn't do it, but the body's hidden there." Authorities were immediately dispatched to the scene, and within hours, officers located the shed Carrion had mentioned. The shed was located behind a rundown apartment complex, an area that Carrion had reportedly frequented. Upon entering the shed, police found Lesa Hyde's body hidden in a pile of old furniture and debris. She had been dead for several weeks, her remains badly decomposed. There were signs of blunt force trauma and possible strangulation, indicating that her death had been violent. As the investigation began to unfold, detectives turned their attention to Arturo Carrion. His 911 call had raised suspicions. While it was detailed, it lacked emotion, and the timing of his report seemed too convenient. Why had he waited so long to come forward? And why, if he were truly innocent, was he the one to report the location of the body? Carrion was quickly brought in for questioning. At first, he maintained his story, claiming that he had not been involved in Lesa's death. According to him, he had found her body after a violent encounter between her and an unknown assailant. He insisted that he had not seen her for days and had no idea who might have been responsible for her death. However, as detectives probed deeper into Carrion's background and his relationship with Lesa, a darker picture began to emerge. Witnesses came forward, revealing that Carrion had been increasingly obsessed with Lesa in the months before her death. A neighbor recalled seeing Carrion arguing with Lesa outside her apartment just days before she went missing. Another friend said Lesa had told her that Carrion had made threatening remarks, saying he couldn't bear the thought of her being with someone else. Carrion's phone records were also analyzed, and investigators found that he had made several calls to Lesa in the days leading up to her disappearance. Cell tower data placed him near the apartment complex on December 24th, the day after Lesa's last known contact with her family. This evidence contradicted his claim that he had not seen her for days. Further forensic evidence also began to tie Carrion to the crime scene. Investigators found his fingerprints on the inside of the shed where Lesa's body was found. There was also a trace of his DNA on the tarp used to cover her remains. These findings were critical in dismantling his initial story. On February 3rd, after several days of intense questioning, Arturo Carrion was arrested and charged with the murder of Lesa Hyde. Faced with mounting evidence and the revelation that his story was falling apart, Carrion finally admitted to killing Lesa. In a detailed confession, Carrion explained that on the night of December 23rd, the argument between him and Lesa had escalated into violence. According to him, he had gone to her apartment with the intention of talking things through, but things quickly got out of hand. He claimed that during the argument, he hit Lesa with a blunt object in a fit of rage and strangled her when she tried to escape. Realizing that he had gone too far, Carrion decided to hide her body in the shed, hoping to avoid detection. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," Carrion reportedly told investigators. "I just lost control. I couldn't stand the thought of losing her. She was the only one who ever really cared about me." After killing Lesa, Carrion had gone to great lengths to cover up the crime. He waited days before reporting her death, hoping that the body would decompose enough to be unidentifiable. But his efforts failed, and in the end, his own desperation and arrogance led to his downfall. The arrest of Arturo Carrion brought some measure of closure to Lesa Hyde's family and friends, but it also left them grappling with a sense of disbelief. How had someone who was supposed to love and care for Lesa turned on her in such a horrific way? And why had he kept her body hidden for weeks before coming forward? In the months following his arrest, Carrion's trial began. The prosecution presented a strong case, backed by forensic evidence, eyewitness testimony, and Carrion's own confession. His defense team attempted to argue that he had acted in a moment of temporary insanity, but the jury was not swayed. After several weeks of trial, the jury convicted Arturo Carrion of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Lesa Hyde's family and friends, while devastated by her loss, took solace in the fact that justice had been served. They remembered Lesa not for the tragic end of her life but for the love and kindness she had shown to those around her. Her story, though filled with heartbreak, would continue to serve as a reminder of the importance of never letting control and manipulation fester in relationships. The case also sparked greater awareness in the community about the signs of toxic and abusive relationships, encouraging others to seek help before it's too late. The story of Lesa Hyde's tragic death remains a haunting reminder of the danger of obsession and the devastating consequences of controlling behavior. Help us continue to shed light on real-life crime stories and bring awareness to important issues. Subscribe to our channel for in-depth true crime stories, investigative reports, and compelling cases that need to be told. Hit the subscribe button now and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that matters. Together, we can spread awareness, seek justice, and make a difference.